to hasik to taro pakinyo. To the partner, Lisoshipone, welcome to the Bible channel. Thank you so much, my friends, my brother and sister. Today I want to read for you about the Matthew chapter 23, verse 12. Talk about little bit. Okay, here is the who for whoever exalts himself will be humbled. Okay, and whoever humbles himself will be exalted. This meaning about that today I want to talk with you and share with you about the Bible. All right, here is the limate. Okay, pusikolo. Okay, ni pagle kwa le. Okay, Leoba Sarukisiki is a po Kisikini Ketudara Padile. Here is the I want to read for you the Job chapter 22, verse 29. Talk about a little bit. One man are brought low, and you say, lift them up, then he will save the downcast. What is it called? This is meaning about this. Okay, you should think about carefully yourself. Whatever you do, whatever you did, remember this. Okay. Penny, Leoba Sedu Kisiki so Kisi Queenie Katudara Parliament Timile. Katuara do Babata solo. Ne Negasi Tapa talk a lot over. Do a work uki cocky boiler a thalo boilo. I want it boiler a solo at that. But don't but le ta solo oni begin mala. I want it devra nesile tag patoto a lot over. A weda uki cocky boiler a thalo boilo. I want it metal a jua a casara way a tapitama pulo. Okay, Penny Bakle Quaquala, Tapita Matit Palo, Olo Batamu, the Sep Hole Patahu Daga Sicolom. Penny Bakle Quaqua, Penny Proverbs chapter 15, verse 33, talk about a little bit here. Proverbs chapter 15, verse 33, talk about the fears of the Lord teach a man wisdom. And humanity comes before honor. Humanity comes before honor. Away Bethina Sicola, Dama at the part, but Dama Pusicolo. Pay it radile, Tapli Yuane me Takuthi atatuki toki do, ta solo atane. U suni talaka por kilo, u suni talaka por kilo. Awane pagiterma usone talak por kilo. Awane pagiterma na palo a solo tane. Kera usone talak por kilo. Tera dire. Pagba solo bata ko adela betamu pulo. Dobla ne paba plik sayalo. Feel the Lord. Okay. Feel the Lord. Okay. And then humanity come before honor. You should think about a little bit in your lifetime. Here is the Proverbs chapter 20, verse 23. Talk about a little bit here. Proverbs chapter 20, verse 23. Talk about here a little bit. Okay, I want to read for you a little bit here. Proverbs chapter 20, verse 23. I want to read for you a little bit. Okay. When he made dollar Li Yako, Peter Mala, Li Yuba, Lig to do a shadow, Lig to do a shadow kissy, a shapo, kissy tane, Catudara Quadilo. Devara manutimile. Okay, Penny Devara, the Lord's deters different, okay, different waste and dishonors skills do not please him. Dishonor skills do not please him. Rapero Pacrasukumo Tala Patamu Pune, Mitala Lugtula Patapitama Pusicolo. When a Pacatura Bacala, Ligatudo, a shadow, Kisi, a sub ho kisita katuta do palo tai takru tirpa le pata mopu le pata le take pu sikolo away ni mitala po kratinya do pakrana pole pata mopu sikolo pakasukumo do petino pa le pata mopu ni pain so pota kimi ni me tata ba ele yua menyalo do sopota le aloda ni tekiba debra sopota le aloda ni tekiba leta no kura ra pata o mupu ni bagaba mathe tami tato ni lo kura ro ni pakra patu pata le pata mupu pakra sukumo le pata mupu sikolo. Okay, here is the I want to read for you about the Daniel chapter 4 verse 37. Talk about a little bit. Now I, Nebuchadnezzar, praise and exalt and glorify the King of heaven, because everything he does is right, and all his ways are just, and those who walk in pride he is able to humble. This is the king Nebuchadnezzar. Okay, Babylon king. He exalts himself. He knows that God is living God. Pero pakle pakwa le Daniela said do lui a sapo tasi nui ni katuta pa paylo kagane yeda Nebuchadnezzar Yesito petra do pa tho do malakapo munku sopa lo amata kalani me tamita do akler ni me ta sinyoto do polo apa ata thor pani solo o thilo polo apa ata thor pani solo o thilo devda dinetulo kutaroni don't proud by yourself. Okay, remember this. God can do everything in your life. Okay, God can do everything in your life. Here is the related verse, and I want to read for you is the Luke chapter 14, verse 11. Talk about database here. For everyone who exalts himself will be humble, and he who humble himself will be exalted. Okay, he who humble himself will be exalted. When he pakitete mala, takwe ta kai ni, metatamila pakropa tu pata le batamupulo. Sivra agidi e pala apato to atada wekua de name. Kabata solo do pala a solo atada weni kabata patolo little kudoro pagaba solo batale kasayu amenya do tagaba patoto panilo pame pagapolo dale panoka sara welu awenelu pete or a lot over Lucas Siko support siluni devradile. Here is the Luke chapter 18 verse 14 talk about I tell you that this man, rather than the other, went home justified before God, for everyone who exalts himself will be humble, and he who humbles himself will be exalted. Away pakra sukamulo patamupu, lepata letaki, lepata pitama pusikolo. Lelugasor siko sapo the silui katutara poile taitaklo le riwero. Yesibatu ai daga bata pato palo odo kilo kiwesu a hilo. Mimi away the gani tameba agiri kiye poile apatoto atani. Kabata solo lo do poile a solo atani. Kabata patoto lo. Palo solo tani bata pa toto. Okay, maybe dinero. I want to read for you about the James chapter 4, verse 6. Talk about a little bit here. but he gives us more grace. That is why scripture says God opposes the proud, but gives grace to the humble. But give grace to the humble. You should think about by yourself a little bit about, okay, in your way. Here is pain Yako Saro Louis, Liako Saro Louis, Sabakuna Kutudaro Padile. Me a hill tab lutapo arki. The tado. See whether you are toda papa totota. Do hill tab lutapo pa solo ataro. Modinero patutalo you are polarki. Modinero patutalo you are polarki. Submit yourself then to God. Patutalo you are pala. Submit yourself them to God. Okay, here is the First Peter. First Peter chapter 5, verse 5 talk about a little bit. I want to read for you here. Talking, young men, in the same way, be submission to those who are older. All of you clothe yourself with humanity towards one another, because God opposes the proud, but give grace to the humble. Give grace to the humble. Let no good at pain, tap it through a shadow. Tap it through a shadow, yeah, a sapo. Yenny, Katutalo Palo, Taita Clupe the Sepolo. Katuwara dilo, dine to Pala atasadu, Patutalo, Patapa Polarki. Do tuwati color, Palo tutalo, tu Pola the Kutako. Do kuto to tota solo patarki. Agiri, you are troca papa totota. Do hilo tableta polo, Pua solo atalo. Hilo tableta polo, Pua solo atalo. Remember this thing, my friends, my brother and sister, you should think about carefully in your lifetime. Okay, you should think about carefully in your lifetime. Here is the Luke chapter 14, verse 11 talk about ready. For everyone who exalts himself will be humbled, and he who humble himself will be exalted. Remember, my friends, my brother and sister. Do Krasukumutala to Tamupulo? Away ni Paragalo, a Katutala, Tapita Matir Pani, Pakropatu Patala, Patamupu Sikolo. When you Katutara Pala, Paragala, a solo tani, Tagaba Patotolo. Paragala, a me, Patotolo atani. Tagaba solo giolo. The Danakudaro, two crollos, Sukumo Petino Pala, Titamo Pulo. The Niva the knee, the Thobar saw, Lepatapitama, Lepata Hotake Puni. Pacronapota, no Pacrolera, Le Patamopu Sicolo. No paini, Pacatete Mala, Lima Tessero Kissida. A Saversiki, Catudara Boadilo, Peda Pala, a patoto ataragane, Cabata Sololo. Do peda polo a solo ataragane, Kabata patotolo. Moya suiki gluta, do suiki poeco, gardeniki, Motugo ta solo taragaraga, Tucrolo, Ledalo, Tamitato pu, Juata hibera, pa opa thoti patapita manilo. Tablo de malo, Letohonia e Yesible Tulu. Moi joa amigletaro tunirki. God bless you all, my friends, my brother and sister. God will with you always in your lifetime. Remember this. Humble yourself. Okay, don't humble yourself. Okay, exalt yourself better than humble. Thank you so much. Bye bye. See you next time.